Hey guys, Epsy here, and I would like to talk today to you about the changes happening to all hand cannons, and then more specifically the exotic hand cannons, and what the real changes to all of that really is, and what it might mean for the game itself. So people seem to just be looking at the three main exotic hand cannons at face value, forgetting the changes to hand cannons in general. Now the issue I have with the changes is that, for the most part, legendary hand cannons were fine, and hand cannons were fine in and of themselves. They were not OP, they seemed pretty balanced, they weren't dominating PvP. You use them a lot because they have that kind of aesthetic quality to them, and you see all the exotic hand cannons being good, so you just assume, hey, if those are good, the entire series should be good as well, right? So why didn't we just change specific things about the exotic hand cannons proper? I'm afraid that when the patch drops, that the only good hand cannons in Crucible will remain those exotics. The other ones will just not perform well enough to be viable. Sure, the Last Word, Thorn, and Hawkmoon will no longer dominate the PvP arena, but they might as well become the only hand cannons. Consider this: the Devil You Don't, a legendary hand cannon with, by math, the highest and most consistent damage output in the game. Its only weakness is its magazine of 5. With the magazine nerf coming to all hand cannons, the magazine would then become 4 or maybe lesser, which will make it even more useless and will basically give you a reason to dismantle it now. In fact, I've already made the decision to dismantle mine, so. Also consider non-legendaries. The whites and greens and even blues dropped at lower levels that have like 3 rounds, or maybe a bit more than that. They're going to be even more useless. Now, we're not going to be holding on to those as long as we will the legendaries and exotic weapons, but still, it's going to make it so that you're going to have a bad taste in your mouth if you were first getting into the game, and the weapon you want to use as a hand cannon, you're just going to think that they all suck at that point. So it's just not leaving or sending a good message to new players of what hand cannons can be. As it stands, there's going to be at least a 14% reduction in magazine size based on the changes to Hawkmoon, which will increase its magazine back to basically its original level, because the whole theme behind Hawkmoon is luck, so it makes sense that they have that an unlucky 13 magazine. So it'll be dropped down to 11. 11 divided by 13 is 14 point something percent. So that buff to Hawkmoon will just neutralize the nerf that's going to all hand cannons. As well, some of the changes made to hand cannons en masse have been neutralized by other buffs given to exotic hand cannons. This further leaves legendaries crippled. The only exotic hand cannon which feels the full effect of all the changes is Thorn, which is great and all, but I'm afraid that the age of the hand cannon is coming to a close for the moment. So let's get into exactly what the exotic hand cannons will be changed, and in considering everything about them, starting with the Last Word. The faster damage drop-off coming to all hand cannons combined with the nerf to range to the Last Word means that it will no longer be viable at all ranges, which is great. As well, the ADS accuracy and zoom nerfs, combined with a reduction in its own stability, will make ranged combat even more difficult. However, its own buff to its hipfire accuracy will cancel out the nerf coming to all hand cannons, and the buffed precision aim assist scaling makes this weapon a monster when firing from the hip at close range. Basically, always fire from the hip with the Last Word from now on. Be careful though, the magazine will more than likely be reduced to 7 shots instead of 8. So let's talk about Thorn now, which will feel the full effect of all the changes. You will no longer be able to successfully snapshot target kills at range. So even though the Thorn will be keeping its really high stability and range, the ADS accuracy and zoom nerfs coming to hand cannons will make landing those shots in quick succession more difficult, which was the main issue I had with the Thorn. It could fire too fast, too accurately, at too long a range. It can still fire too fast in my opinion, but we'll have to see how this nerf plays out. So those changes combined with the reduction in damage fall off and the massive nerf to the DOT, kills from range will be a thing of the past. Thorn will no longer be able to kill in 2 headshots plus burn. It will more than likely be able to kill in 2 headshots and a single body shot regardless of burn. It's not all as bad as you think it is, though. The changes to DOT making it able to stack make it a much more viable weapon in PvE. Imagine a team of 3 Guardians equipped with Thorn on a strike versus Valis to Auric. Mark of the Devourer, the DOT damage, will deal around 28 damage per tick, which may be stacked up to 5 times. So that's 140 damage per tick, which would be sustained throughout the entire fight. The Valis would just melt. Now, it's not clear if these will stack individually, meaning that we'll have 140 damage times 3, or if it'll just be across all of the Guardians, so we'll just be able to sustain it more easily, proccing off of each other's damage. Also be aware that Thorn's magazine is also going to take a hit, dropping it to maybe 7 or 8 shots. So this leaves us with Hawkmoon. So as it stands, apparently, if you can proc all 3 of the bonus damage, Hawkmoon can drop a target in a single shot, which is ridiculous. I've never been on the sending or receiving end of this, and I was never aware that this was a thing, but yeah, that's going to be gone. It will only be able to stack 2 times, so you'll still only be able to kill them in 2 shots, maybe if you are lucky. Apart from this, the changes are similar to the critique on Thorn. Snapshots will be more difficult, spamming from range will no longer work, etc. The only difference here is that Hawkmoon's 13-round mag will remain. The Holding Aces buff will cancel out the magazine nerf given to all hand cannons. This is likely to maintain Hawkmoon's both aesthetic as well as the largest magazine size across all hand cannons, which will make it even more valuable with this nerf. So recently it was tweeted this morning that the patch has been partially implemented into the game. I'm not sure exactly what that means, and there's still no word of when it's going to come out. Likely, it's not going to come out until September 15th, when the Taken King comes out, which is incredibly frustrating because PvP is still broken. So, what do you guys think? What are you concerned about in this patch? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Is there something that I missed? Do you have anything hopeful for me? Please be constructive in the comments down below. I've been Epsy, and I will see you next time.